Allow the children to handle the budget every year.
It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay.
She
Off your mind.
like me.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic. And if we talk, na 500,000 they go sama us, call am hate speech. But fear not, Mayegun don come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people wey dey spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. This one na dey off in mind, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Can in dey touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be dey holla say dem want the power. Chai, dem be promise us say we go get light and power. Dem hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say Mayegun don come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. This one not dey off in mind, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Person wey dey do evil no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too dey talk. He too dey talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Poor man pikin dey the street dey hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun diary, diary politico.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o, kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki.
Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn Turaki.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki.
Mayegun ti dé.
lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjù.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjù.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjù.
Máyégún ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn làjù.
Máyégún ti dé.
Hello there. Welcome back and good morning to you. Again, good afternoon to you and a very good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It is Máyégún live. And you know what to do. After reading the caption of the broadcast, read the description of the broadcast as well. Then like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends and tell them to join us because Máyégún is live. And tonight is going to be the continuation from where we stopped at noon, or somehow a little bit of detour. The new INEC Chairman, Joash Amupitan, has been sworn in by Tinubu today in the Oshi-Omo-Ole rock. And I am going to start from there. Then we are going to go to, because it's election stuff, right? So we're going to go to the National Assembly, where Oshi-Omo-Ole and others, especially Oshi-Omo-Ole, advocating for the politicians to stop using political thugs for election riggings in their deliberation on the Electoral Act 2022 amendment, which is currently ongoing, by the way. So then we are going to touch on the reasons given by the police why Sowore was abducted in a broad daylight today, when they said the Commissioner of Police of Abuja was inviting him. They have now told us why they decided to do that to Sowore and what is coming up next. And that's how we're going to run it this hour. So please, like the broadcast if you haven't already. Share it, right? And let's go to their Oshi-Omo-Ole rock, where the swearing in, I've been swearing for the new INEC Chairman took place with this.
Legal scholar, academic leader, and senior advocate of Nigeria was born on April 25, 1967 in Ayeko, Wike, the Tinubu local government area of Ogun State. He occupies a pride of place in the highest realm in Nigeria's legal and academic community through diligence, intellect, and his steadfast commitment to justice and national development. Professor Amupitan began his higher education at the Kwara State Polytechnic Ilorin before proceeding to the University of Jos, where he obtained a Bachelor of Law degree in 1987. He was called to the Nigerian bar in 1988 and returned to the University of Jos to pursue his master's and PhD in law.
Professor Joash Amupitan, SAN, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful Joash Amupitan, SAN, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and always in the interests of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being, and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will exercise the authority vested in me as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, so as not to invade or prejudice the authority lawfully vested in the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and so as not to endanger the continued.
And so on and so forth. Let me save you time. I will save us time, all right? Because we are starting with the boring part before we get to the interesting part, as we wait for other member of the temple, the Templars. What did Kolu say at that inauguration? So for context, okay, in the next few weeks or months, all right, those of you who have been shouting the name of Momodu Yakubu, you won't be calling Yakubu anymore. This will be the guy you'll be shouting his name. And normally, right, when they give you new, kind of like a new head for a supposed agency or organization, you would expect some changes, something that would be like a little bit of like, reforms, but don't expect anything. And I don't want to be a killjoy, all right? Here is what Kolu said at a swearing for ceremony.
Here present, distinguished guests, head of service, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first begin by congratulating Professor Joash Amupitan on the appointment as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Your nomination for the important role and the subsequent confirmation by the Senate is a testament to your capacity and the confidence reposed in you by both the executive and the legislative arm of government. The significant achievement marked the beginning of a challenging yet rewarding journey, and I trust that you will approach your responsibilities with the highest level of integrity, dedication, and patriotism. Our democracy has come a long way in 25 years. We have consolidated and strengthened our democratic institutions, particularly our electoral system, through innovation and reforms. We have learned a great deal along the way and have improved significantly from where we were many years ago. We must now remain committed to the principles that underpin democracy in a complex, multifaceted society. The electoral process is a vital part of a democracy, safeguarding the people's exclusive right to choose their leaders and shape their future. To ensure that our democracy continues to flourish, the integrity of our electoral system must be beyond reproach. It is important that our elections are free, fair, and credible. We must consistently improve our electoral process, addressing the challenges of yesterday and innovating for today and tomorrow. To maintain public trust in elections, electoral integrity must be protected. All aspects of the process, from registration to campaigning, immediate access, voting and counting, should be transparent, non-violent, and be credible. No electoral system is flawless, but since elections are vital to a nation's future, it is essential to continually strengthen electoral institutions, ensuring they are robust, resilient, and safeguarded against artificial setbacks.
Blah, blah, blah. So the game is rigged and it is set. So Amupitan resumed office officially as the INEC Chairman just in the nick of time when the Anambra election will be the litmus test of course, you know now that at the end of the day, all the normal kind of like the tradition of your charade that you call election, right? So it's going to happen, and they are going to tell you that he just came in. He hasn't really made any changes, of course. Then you're going to have Osun election, I think, next year, and that will be another one. And yeah, however that goes, right? They will still give you an excuse. But in the National Assembly, where the law is being like tinted right now to fit into their 2027 renewed hope election. That's what they're going to call it. So Amupitan and his official arrival at the INEC office or headquarters in Abuja today. That's the guy you are going to be seeing on your TV screens, on your newspaper in front, you know, the front pages of your newspapers. And you're going to be hearing different quotes and all that. And then you probably begin to form your own opinion and say, oh, yeah, Nigeria is toast. I hope not. So in the National Assembly, they have their own supposed expectations of the INEC this time around, because one of the reasons why Tinubu's regime is not popular is because his regime is considered as an illegitimate regime. An election that was rigged, right, so brazenly that people were expected to actually hit the streets, but that didn't happen. But yet, Tinubu is considered as one of the most unpopular presidents in the history of Nigeria. And let me tell you something, Nigeria actually have enough number of worse and worse leaders. Okolu seems to be taking the #1 goal right now because of the credibility of the elections that brought him to office. So some would expect Tinubu to conduct a free and fair elections so that, an improved one where people can see credibility in it and respect the result. That's not going to happen. Again, right? It is just my own opinion, and not just opinion, by the way. We are talking about Tinubu, right? So in the National Assembly, Seriake Dickson was talking about what I just said now, like, comparing their elections, subsequent, and all of that, the past elections, and then, and what they expected of this, their new INEC. It's just another ritual.
The sponsor who led the lead debate and chairman of the Committee on Electoral Matters, of which I'm a member, for bringing this very important matter for our discussion. And having listened to the lead debate and all the very moving and passionate contributions of all members, with which I totally agree, I just felt I should add a thing or two. There is no doubt, as has been said, that if there is one pressing matter before this 10th Senate, if there is one pressing matter before this 10th Senate, it is the issue of how we sustain and deepen and ring-fence the electoral system. Because if that fails, then we'll only be a democracy in name. We'll only be a democracy in name. And it's a great shame, it's a shame, that election period after election period, we seem to be regressing. I know that in this country, in 2007, President Yar'Adua, right there on the inaugural podium, restated his determination to review the electoral system that brought him into office. After Yar'Adua, 2015, a sitting president who appeared to be losing without even waiting for the final tally to be called, President Jonathan, and by the way, from the great state of Bayelsa too, made that historic call. And I was there in the room with him. The effort was to deepen and elevate Nigeria's democracy. And thereafter, 2019, we didn't see how that improved our system. So in some way, without casting blame or pointing fingers, we appear not to have built on the momentum that has been established, to the extent that, as I said the other day, and I note Mr. President's very patriotic utterance when he said, well, our country has done it before, and you're right. Now, it's as if, I don't want to say smaller countries, but we are the giant of Africa, and we remain so, by history and by design. It is other countries now that are now taking the shine. And I say so painfully, with reference to the last presidential elections in Ghana, where the candidate of the ruling party, Dr. Bawumia, candidate of NPP, vice president to the sitting president, Akufo-Addo, before even the tally was completed, placed a call to current president John Mahama and considered and stole the show, as it were, from us, Nigeria. So, Mr. President, if there is one major achievement we must make in this 10th Senate under your leadership, we plead that it should be this issue of electoral reform. In India, where you have over 1 billion people voting, diverse nation, which is a continent of its own, they spend 2-3 weeks doing elections because of the size, but you hardly hear people go to court challenging or killing themselves and so on. And they all have the differences too, ethnic, tribe, religion, and all of that. So, Mr. President, we have an opportunity. I know that we have moved from card reader to beavers. We should authorize INEC to deploy more technology, and we should support them with funding. Secondly, our political parties are the biggest challenge to our democracy. We have to look for a way by which we can introduce some regulation and control on their behavior or undemocratic behavior. And thirdly, and this is quite serious, I'm sure when we assemble in Lagos, tomorrow, Mr. President, will be meeting, your committee will be meeting in Lagos to again review some of the proposals that we have been tinkering with for almost a year now. The burden of proof in electoral matters, Mr. President, must shift to INEC. That is where it rightly and properly belongs. We should not subject it to the normal evidential rule that says he who alleges must prove. How can you prove something you don't even know? INEC is the electoral body conducting elections. INEC appoints people, a candidate and party has no control over them. INEC does whatever they do, juggle figures and announce. Do cancellations, they explain to no candidate, they explain to no party. And yet the law says If you challenge it, he who alleges must prove. No. In every other matter, that may very well be the case. That's the common law. But we must make a change in our reviews in the Electoral Act now, requiring that for electoral matters, which are, as we lawyers say, sui generis, they're a particular class of their own, we must shift that burden. The burden of proving that the elections have been conducted peacefully and in accordance with law must shift to INEC. I want us to look at this carefully, and then when we do the clause by clause and at the committee considerations, we can look at it. Mr. President, thank you very much as we unite to give this country the sponsor who
Seriake Dickson. The idea, especially the last part, kind of makes sense if INEC declares somebody, like they declared Tinubu winner, and the result they declared is not the same result they have on their website, even after using the IREV. So if you challenge elections in Nigeria, you have to prove that INEC did not conduct the election properly. And guess what? The evidence that you're going to need to prove to the court that INEC did not conduct the election properly would have to be provided by the same INEC, so that you can fault everything they announced as official results, so you can fault that and fault the election and make the court, ask the court to take a decision, right? So INEC will then play their usual hanky-panky, and then when they waste your time, the court will now say, oh, you did not present the evidence in time, or you did not file in the evidence properly, and all of that things, technicality, you will lose a rigged election. So what Seriake Dickson is proposing there is like, you know what? If INEC says somebody is a winner, they must prove how that person won. Do you understand? Like, oh, you scored 850,000 votes. Where? Show how they scored that 800,000 votes. Not just mumble everything together and then make the burden of proof. Yeah, the responsibility of the plaintiff, somebody who is challenging a rigged election. So it's kind of like, you know, kind of makes sense. Waba, they don't even need to make all these laws. They have plenty laws to cover so many things. Their problem is implementation, because in a situation where some people or group of people are completely above the law of the land, all laws, including electoral laws, they will commit electoral violence, buy weapons for young people, violent political thugs, to disrupt elections and have their way, and INEC will still announce them winners. Sure you get. So it's not about laws. Not be human being go implement the law. They send soldiers to go and protect election, and the electorate. Now soldier, they carry ballot box on the shoot gun. Imagine that. So that's not about law. So when people get away with all of that, there's no amount of laws, amendment. Here you get. They made laws for 2020, Electoral Act for 2022, the one they used in 2023. And guess what? They were supposed to be migrating to a technological kind of like a based election, which they gave the budget of how much that would cost. And they were given the money accordingly. So the people who had the impression that this time around, it will be so difficult for anybody to rig because it is technology, biometric. Nobody else would use somebody else's biometric. And even if you try, you can't use the same face like somebody else because technology will discover all of that. All the underage voters, they will be removed. But they didn't tell everybody that until the presidential tribunal. That's when they now said, oh, in that same section that you are quoting, continue the quoting. Go to section section 2B. Oh yeah, that one you quoted is section 2A and 2B. Oh yeah, go to section 2D and E. You will see where it said they can also use manual. Oh, that's true. But we all agree that we are going to use technology. No, law doesn't work like that. Law doesn't work like that, okay? So what happened is that the law says they can use technology and manually. Yeah. So is that why they have all these underage voters, all this rigged election from northern part of Nigeria and so many other parts of Nigeria too, because they cannot verify those votes. So what happened to the over 200 billion naira, nearly 300 billion naira you spent on that technological powered election? They say, but it's also allowed for them to also use manual. Now they are proposing that you won't need the voter's card to vote. So they are cooking all of that right now, but they will sell you the fancy ones very soon. The one that will give you the impression that, oh yeah, this one sounds good. But because people don't read the print, they don't read the details, right? You get to see that it is not about laws. It is the implementation of that law. There is no law. See, there is no crime in Nigeria that doesn't have any law. In fact, Nigeria has so many laws to the point that they are still using colonial era laws of the colonial time, 1947, 1938. Some of the laws that are used to gag the colonized. Nigeria still retains some of them, and they are using that to jail Nigerians in Nigeria right now. Dead laws, supposedly dead laws. So it is not about laws, it is about implementation of it, which is mostly deliberate. And Oshi-Omo-Ole had this to say in his own suggestion. He said that, they should try to stop, paying thugs to rig elections and many other suggestions, if you don't mind.
I should sit myself with some of the comments made. But I don't know if Mr. President will remember. Mr. President, sir, I'm not sure I'm entitled to call the president as a witness, but just to draw your attention to what I said when we were both governors, that first, the issue we must work hard to eliminate in our electoral process is violence. You can't have an election that seems to be a war, where young men and not so young carries AK-47 either to chase away opponents or even to chase away the young men and women who are presiding over election, or to take over collation centers. On that occasion, as a city governor, I believe Governor Dickson was also at that meeting. I remember when I finished, I said, AK-47 is not like buying a car. Only big men have the money manner that they want. I remember the former Governor Amici asking me whether I was accusing the governors. I think I said something close to yes. Because if you ask the security agencies, they will tell you that after every election, violent crimes increase. Because the politicians who have procured weapons for children who are hungry and pay them a little fee, once the election is over, they are not able to retrieve the weapons. And the weapons are then deployed by these people for violence. You can see a strong correlation between the level of criminality, robbery, etc. immediately after the election. Because these people have been abandoned since the results have been given. Somebody said I shouldn't accuse governors. I'm not accusing governors now. I'm just recalling what I have said before. And when I listen to all those who have spoken here, everybody spoke in unison. I haven't heard anyone who says he doesn't want a transparent election. if we all do, not from our lips, but from our heart, and we decide to remove violence and convince ourselves that the Nigerian people deserve to hire and fire without fear or favor on election day, at least after every 4 years, we will, even under the current law, we will have free, fair, transparent election. However, that said, I want also not to throw away everything that has been done before. If we compare the last election and even the one before it to the election of 2003, where we saw policemen in uniform carrying ballot boxes in front pages of newspapers, between that time, 2003, where Yaradua complained about a process that threw him up that he was ashamed to accept, but he has to accept in order to avoid national crisis. And I believe he was right. Be so rest in peace. I think between that time and now, we have to be fair to INEC. They have introduced measures, including the ones we are talking about now, such as beavers, such as even PVC. PVC was not there in 2023. At every election, I have seen innovation.
Time up.
Excuse me. I wasn't told any time, but I'm going to round up. I'm going to round up. We have only one president here. Let nobody assist him. Just rounding up, since some people have said so, even though they don't have authority, so to say, including my in-laws. I just want to say that the beauty of democracy, is not the fact that you find yourself occupying an important elective office. It is the feeling in your heart that people actually, in their free will, found you worthy to be their voice and to entrust.
It is smoke Igbo. It is take Indian.
You know, something about these guys, sometimes I feel like they just mock Nigerians. Do you get what I mean? Like they just mock Nigerians by sometimes displaying their hypocrisy in the open. And then using a compound, what they call that? In a compound now, I've been a compound now. You say a day. Who are the day? Other than them, so he was mentioning governors, and that's true. They are those who have the capacity to use what they call the immunity cover, right? To bring weapons into their states, of course, into Nigeria. And then, yeah, it's not wrong, that the small and other firearm infiltration, I think they have a word for that. Yeah, in Nigeria, is mostly caused by the criminal politicians who are always preparing for war when the people are told to prepare for elections. You get that now? So how about those sponsors? Anyone that commits electoral crime is arrested, tried, and jailed when they are found guilty. Not like, okay, in our hearts, in our mind, we must try to do, it's like pleading, it's like courts is pleading among themselves and say, you know what, let us stop violence, because in our mind, we can do it. If we think that we can do it, we can do it. Are you kidding me? They've monetized your elections. It is always for the highest bidder. Even if you are a poor guy, which of course they won't give you that chance, but if you're a poor guy, you still need a money bag. They call them godfathers. Oshi-Omo-Ole, Tony Kabaka in Benin, in Edo State. So Tony Kabaka has been using what? Punch to defend APC and their politics in Edo. For those who know them very well. I don't really have to actually really go into all of that. Just the name, Tony Kabaka. So if Oshi-Omo-Ole goes to the National Assembly to start talking about the morality of maybe they should change their mind and stop patronizing those guys, because most of the weapons you give to them, you never really take them back. Since you don't take them back, this guy goes on to use these weapons to commit crimes. And every 4 years, there are always new weapons. And yeah, and there are always available youth that will take the drugs, the small change, and the weapons to wreak havoc just for them to stay in power. It's the drive. Let him finish. So if Oshi-Omo-Ole wants something, he should actually be proposing that electoral crime, the sponsor, the participants, the beneficiary, not only that the beneficiaries of rigging election should be banned from participating in election again. Do you understand what that means? Like you rig an election. So those who participated, it doesn't take just one person to rig election. It takes a group of people, including members of the electoral body. So if you are investigating if you have laws to investigate electoral criminals and jail them, it simply means that the politicians will be banned for life. They can't participate in any election again. Those who help them and others, right, they get different jail terms. By the time they come out, everybody will weigh the risk, as corrupt as the place is, right? They will weigh the risk of, committing electoral crime, but not just talking about it like Oshi-Omo-Ole is doing. Let him finish.
In your hands to manage, to deliver the greatest good to the greatest number. That for me is the beauty. If you achieve it by the aim of, by through rigging or other manipulation, deep in your heart, you know that you are not a happy person. Therefore, I wish to say the following. First, we should resolve, each and every one of us, and also collectively, that as elected persons, we as senators shall not, directly or indirectly, secretly or openly, aid and abet unemployed or semi-employed people and arm them to disrupt election. If we reform our character, this problem is 90% solved. In Edo State, sir, I launched 1 man, 1 vote, 1 woman, 1 vote. At the end of the day, and as of today, it is now possible to do election without cutting dead bodies. It wasn't so before, because we convinced everybody that there is no merit in taking election or conducting election as if it is a state of war. That said, the last thing we must look at critically is the issue of technology. And that is the point we made to the INEC Chairman. The idea of introducing beavers, I think we must commend the previous INEC leadership in introducing some of these devices. However, the problem is those who are to charge these batteries, charge these electronics. Oh, sure, Baba. Sir, you have been very grateful. You have been very generous. I will write up now. Okay. They will say, see, I belong to the ruling party. Don't talk like opposition. Chief Whip? No, I wasn't talking to him. I was talking to somebody from that side. Who am I to talk to Chief Whip? He will whip me out. So, in conclusion, sir, I believe we should learn from what we all watch on CNN. When a big politician was begging an electoral officer to please give him, was it 40,000 extra vote? And this was on television. It was relayed, which shows that at the end of the day, if the leadership lead well, this can follow. So I want to suggest that in dealing with technology, from what we have seen, time up, we must be careful of hackers, and therefore have the alternative. If one fail, we use the other, so that the entire system is not collapsed. The last one is the idea of running election one day. Thank you. From House of Assembly to House of Rep and so on, I think that would be dangerous. We should do it, because if you put everything one day and it fails, there will be confusion all over the country. I think we should retain the idea of presidential election.
Before I go on, let me postulate from the Franz Fanonian dictum, which stipulates that the dialectics of reconciling two conflicting ideas is the algebra of revolution. The overbearing intervention of the state government had further exacerbated Oporompium. and amounting to sadomasochisms. Acrimony and chaos in our community. It was a contumelious stratagem by political jobbers to siphon monies. We suffer what we call political axivia neonantorum. Conclusively, we are a microcosm of the issues in the Niger Delta in the macrocosm.
Fellow Nigerians, this is just the beginning.
So it is still the same thing. Not proposing any law to punish them. He is appealing to their morality that they should, if all of them decided to just change and be nice, that automatically, right, the problem of election rigging and the rest of that will subside. Nothing as punishment for the criminals that perpetrate electoral crime. Sorry, that sounded like like a waste of time, isn't it? But those guys are the ones who are going to decide how your election is going to be conducted. That conversation that you are hearing, so right, then eventually they're going to release something and tell you that 2024 or 2025 electoral amended or something. No, sorry, Nigerian Electoral Act 2025 as amended, and all this chart will be in there, and you have no choice but to just follow the rules. So they will set the rules, and to Apkabiole, they have done so well. The elections in Nigeria have gotten better after the 16 years of PDP. Now, this is another fooling. I am sorry again if it's going to be like a waste of time, all right? But it should be documented. Like I said, these are the guys who are going to set the rules, and this is the kind of the conversation they are having that will later become the rules that all of you would have to obey until it is too late.
I'm sure that even myself and Senator Baribe, who have been around for almost 2.5 decades in these electoral matters, I know you are only you don't care about political party, you win election in any party. You have a lot of experiences, but you will agree with me that since PDP left, the elections have improved tremendously in this country. Because I recall I've been close to most of the presidents since 1999, and I recalled in 2007 when I won as a governor, our then president, may so rest in peace, President Yaradua, had to come out publicly to say that the election that brought him as president was totally flawed. I don't know whether you know that. He said it, that it was totally flawed, that the election was full of inconsistencies and rigging. Since then, we have plugged the holes. So now, imagine this last election. We had to go up to Supreme Court, arguing as to whether winning the Federal Capital Territory was the only reason why you should become president. Instead of FCT being counted as a state for the purpose of calculation the 2/3, people are saying, no, win FCT and then you have won presidency. So you can lose in 36 states of the federation, but once you win FCT, that automatically you have become president. And they wasted time. They had panels upon panels in different television studios, and at the end of the day, we got to Supreme Court and back. Common sense could have told us that that was not the intent of the Electoral Act. So we can only do our best. Nigerians will still do mischief, and for those of us from Anambra, we know that there are people who travel abroad during election, crafting papers, and immediately after the election, they go to court, and they would submit papers that you can't even fault, and then suddenly you find them inside the Senate, and the real winner is crying outside. I don't want to mention the name, but Senator Alero, you know the best. no need. So we must find a way to plug the loopholes of such such occurrences so that we can have a better electoral system. But just to add, so we can go into other businesses, is there anybody who is opposed to this electoral amendment going for second reading? If they, anybody who is opposed to the electoral act amendment going for second reading? Senator Garba, are you opposed to it? Maidoki, are you opposed to it?
Nuisance Lele. Nuisance Lele.
Complete one, complete nuisance. Everything they said is a lie, just so you know. Okay? That, oh, if you just win Abuja, then you become president, even if you lose in 36. That's not what happened. Okay? But I'm not going to explain that any further. But the last part, where he said that when people are doing elections, they will travel abroad and they, you know, they will be crafting papers and all of that. And before you know it, they will end up in the Senate. He's talking about himself. You see, this particular one that is the Senate, that he becomes the Senate president. Apkabiole did not win the party primaries. In fact, he had to go to court. It was the court that said that he should be the candidate when he didn't even buy a form. He did not even buy the APC form. He wanted to be senator. But he's now the Senate president of Nigeria. So they have a way around where they can manipulate the laws and all of that because they are the ones crafting it. So eventually you are going to see a lot of amendments in there. Some of you will be alarmed. People will talk, people will raise this and that, but they will still have their way. Because people who talks, who raise these concerns are not doing it rightly. These guys don't need talk. In a country where you have opposition that could boast of over, 20 million voters, even in a rigged system, if you combine, I'm just using that your last time data, where you could have like about 30 million voters. So let's just approximate that to 20 million because it was rigged, right? So now imagine an opposition with a 20 million supporter, that's like the 10% of the population. And they cannot mobilize 10% of that or even 5% of that voters to picket the National Assembly and insist that these are supposed to be part of the rules. And if they are not, right, these guys should vacate the place or, you know what I mean, like picket the place with tens of thousands of your supporters. Let them mobilize their own supporters too. Everybody will picket the National Assembly. So they will do something. Or you don't have that. Everybody will see all this nonsense they will do, right? Everybody will jump straight to the TV to analyze, to talk tough, and this and that. They will still have to go and follow the rules of these guys. So let's say doing same thing again and again and expecting a different result is no other thing than the symptom of madness. You get me now? But let's leave that. In Osun, somebody is calling this APC that, listen, somebody you want to use as the governorship candidate in Osun State or for your, as your candidate in Osun. He's a killer, he's a murderer, everybody knows it. Who are those who are occupying the political offices anyway, especially in this APC, other than the drug dealers, certificate forgers, human traffickers, and of course, maybe murderers too.
Ẹ má fi kàjòyè apààyàn assassinate ẹ má fi jòyè torí pé àìtọ́ ìkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ níjọ́ ní ẹ jẹ́ kó jẹ́ àríkọ́gbọ́n fún wa nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun èyí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ níjọ́ ní ẹ jẹ́ kó jẹ́ àríkọ́gbọ́n fún wa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun àní sórí burúkú o àní fọmọ wa ṣàwátì o wọn ò ní pa ọmọ wa wọn ò ní pa wá o ọlátìlẹ̀ ànábì wa ẹni tó bá lóun ó pa wá gbogbo ìdílé rẹ̀ ní ọ̀run o ọlẹ́gbẹ́ ọgọ́gọ́ apọ̀ bí irúpẹ́ lẹ́lẹ́ gbogbo ẹni tó bá lóun pa wá ẹ̀mí rí ó tán sí gbogbo ẹ̀mí fámìlì rẹ̀ ò ní dé ọlátìlẹ̀ ànábì wa Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ẹ má fi kàjòyè o ẹ má fòsónú joyè apààyàn assassinate ẹ má fi joyè èmi ń ké o torí tèmi. Kò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Kò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ o.
Said the woman is from Iragbiji. To those of you who probably don't understand the Yoruba, right? She's saying that this candidate they want to use in Osun State for APC is assassinate you. Assassinate means that he's an assassin. She was not saying that on Facebook Live or anything, or TikTok or anything. No. She was a guest on a radio program in Osun State. In fact, her name is self-acclaimed. They said she is Iragbiji born, self-acclaimed Alaja Falilatu Ero Arike Olokemeji Nigeria Limited. That's I too. So she is known to be very much like a prominent member of the APC. So she's raising an alarm on the radio that they shouldn't make the same mistake they made the last time or the other time. Or this person is an assassin, he's a killer. Don't try to. She didn't tell us who, but it seems that those who knows. I'll say. And that was in Osun. You know, there's something I was going to share with us. It happened in Tanzania. And, you know, that woman who is their president in Tanzania after Magufuli. Oh dear, her name is Samaria or something. I'm sorry. Right? I'll tell you the story now. All right. So I'll tell you the story after this. The woman that was supposed to be a woman, different, she has become something else and currently trending on the social media for all the wrong reasons. She has arrested her own opposition. An election is upcoming where she is, participating. Now she has accused our own main opposition of the treason or terrorism, and she's got them arrested. So that one was supposed to now be in court when another group from that opposition's party, one prominent figure as well, decided to attend the court hearing of this opposition figure before election. While they were preparing to go to court to attend, the country's military came and they arrested all of them too. So in which it is more or less like she's now contesting against herself. Because with that, it's like just taking your positions away. So it was only Shori Abi. God bless you. I just didn't want to jump the gun. But don't worry. I'll mention that again before I go. So yeah, in Tanzania, how is that even possible? Like, why would she be this, you know? And that's why I caught the story and I was like, I'm going to drop it in the diary this hour. So, here.
Huku Tanzania hakunaga billboard za kazi. Kila kitu ni za Samia. Kila pahali. Wako Tariki. Yani hakuna kitu kingine. Ona Mama Samia Suluhu peke yake. Hakuna billboard ya za Amco Properties Limited. Hadi nakuzia machaba. Mama Samia Suluhu peke yake. Ukiona taa lolote nieke. Kila taa nieke. Karibu na kwa ng'ombe. Kuna taa nieke. Kuna taa nieke pia hiyo. Nieke hiyo. Nieke hiyo. Mama Samia Suluhu. Ati nani wanatangaza mashamba? Watoe unieke. Watoe unieke. Tanzania, are you serious? Na pia hana mgombea, hana mtu wenye wanapigana. Hawana mtu upinzani hapa. Hawana upinzani yako jera. Lakini anajiweka kila mahali. Kuna taa barabarani nieke. Nieke. Kila billboard. Nieke tu. Hiyo ni nini billboard? Nieke na ng'ombe. Nieke na ndege ya Air Tanzania. Nieke tu. Ukipata tu nieke. Niegeze. Tanzania. Huku Tanzania hakuna.
Yeke. Kilo day. Wetin happen? She's everywhere. They say she's spending like her life depends on it. So she was supposed to have probably done well for the country, but as usual, it's Africa. So they spend more money on media to continue to publicize them as doing well. But the opposition seems to be kind of like gaining ground enough that she is now using her state power during the year of election to put them away, all of them. So she will be running against herself. In one of the scenario, right, where the opposition figures were picked up when they wanted to go and attend the court case of another presidential candidate. The presidential candidate, right, the member of the opposition, prominent figures there, going to attend the court case. Just as they were picked up by the soldiers in their pickup. Power, just charge your opposition on trumped up charges and let the courts just deal with them and put them away in the middle of an election, right? Somebody's done that before, and I think it's the Museveni in Uganda, where they have a Bobby Wine. And Bobby Wine controls the new generation of Ugandans, by the way, right? And they are also having an election soon. Everywhere he goes to for his campaign, right, Museveni soldiers or police will be there, not to provide any form of a security or whatever, but just to see something to kind of like act on. Sometimes they cause the issues themselves, like just cause some kind of like a problems, drive into other campaign, the campaign convoy of Bobby Wine, and sometimes they just arrest him. You just come and say, you know what, you can't campaign here, you are under arrest, and they take him away. That's how they do the election until Museveni will be declared winner. So for a woman, it's kind of crazy, right? Well, that's how they misuse their state power, because they could do it and get away, I think, until people get tired and they're like, no, we've had enough, and that's it. Just like what they did for Oshi-Omo-Ole Sowore today, when he went to attend the court case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Sowore was leaving the court premises like everyone else until the team of the FCT police commissioner accosted him, and he was told that the commissioner of police in Abuja wanted to see him. You saw the drama this afternoon, right? So he went with them. The police now came out later this afternoon to tell everybody that the reason why they arrested Omoyele Sowore was because when they arrested Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, his brother, they also arrested 11 others, making them 13. That they all said, well, their leader is Omoyele Sowore. So, and he was the one who led them to restricted areas. They didn't even get to any restricted areas, right? But yeah, so they said that was the reason why they went to pick Omoyele Sowore. So they're going to detain him and then charge him to court For what exactly? Listen to Benjamin Hundeyin.
Today, Sowore has been arrested by the Nigerian Police Force. And you would ask, why was he arrested? It is very simple. The 13 people that were arrested previously all gave their statements, and there is a constant in all of their statements. Every one of them mentioned that one Oshi-Omo-Ole show led them into the restricted area in contravention of the court order. So it would be most unfair to charge some people to court and leave the person that led them to commit that more like their leader, the lead protester who told them and took them into the restricted area. And that's why in the spirit of fair play and to ensure that justice is served, Oshi-Omo-Ole was arrested today, and like the other story, we don't spend time with us, we don't spend up to 24 hours with us. Once we wrap up the charges, it's going to be prosecuted. In fact, if everything goes right, our plan is to ensure that he is prosecuted today, goes to court today. About the Anambra Governorship protest and what's the latest on it, you would remember that 8 people were arrested on Monday in the Transcorp area of Abuja. They were arrested because they contravened the court order that restricted movement within those areas. Despite several warnings to them not to move into the restricted area, they charged headlong into the area, and like we warned 2 days before the protest in our statement that anybody that contravenes the order will be arrested and prosecuted. So like one, we actually got them arrested, and 5 others around the Ministry of Finance, also within the restricted area, bringing them to 2013. And they were arraigned the very next day. They didn't spend up to 24 hours in our custody. They were arraigned the very next day, and they've been remanded. So
At least that was their own explanation. So now we are going to have a week-long litigation from their courtrooms, where they continue to make mockery and waste the time of the judiciary that could actually be really dealing with serious, real serious issues. For instance, Nigeria judiciary could be, half of them could actually be used in prosecuting the Fulani terrorists, Boko Haram terrorists. As you are watching this video right now, the report from Borno and Yobe, one other state that didn't kind of like mention yet, is facing a serious Boko Haram bombardment. They called it kind of like faceted attacks right now. So by tomorrow, you begin to kind of get the news of what the havoc they wreak. But when they ever get caught, what happens to them? Repentant terrorists. They still have to spend your money. The ones that they are not even bold enough, like honest enough to tell you how much money they are spending in rehabilitating terrorists that are not rehabilitated. They say they are repentant. The only repentant terrorist from the scholars is a dead terrorist. When a terrorist is dead, then he's repented. Do you get that now? As they usually say. If the terrorist says he wants to go and see God, your own job is to help him see that God as much as possible. So a government that is pampering them and then wasting the time of the judiciary on trumped up kind of like charges, simply because they consider them more dangerous than those who are walking about with war weapons. Context and priority. You know that lady that was kidnapped in Auchi last week, that post, a video pleading for mercy because they were going to kill her yesterday by 5 p.m. Everybody's been asking, how come we've not heard anything from the government of Edo State? Like, how come they've been like, just unbothered? Isaac Fayoshe, like others, are asking similar question. You see, something about this question is this. You watching this broadcast means you are not in the den of a kidnapper. Your freedom is not restricted. So you can possibly just imagine if this is how the world is going to just pretend that you don't exist, even when your video goes viral, when millions, tens of millions of people seen it, including governments. And the state where this happened never made a pim. So you can just imagine that if this was you, is this how the whole world is just going to move on? Yeah. Except for people like us that will continue to remember and remind others. They will move on.
Yeah, 72 hours after that Aisha that was kidnapped video. They've been sharing it for 72 hours. It's been trending. Up till now, there is no statement from federal government. Up till now, there is no statement from any minister. Up till now, there is no statement from any senator. Up till now, there is no statement from House of Reps. All from Mendo people there. Up till now, there is no statement from federal government. The state government, there is no statement from them. It's quiet. Are you with me? Very quiet. Very, very quiet. As if nothing happened. May God not let Nigeria happen to you. This is sad. Can this happen in Kenya, South Africa, UK, America, Europe, even France, that they go and no statement, and people are showing it, people are talking about it, and there is no statement from security agencies, no statement from government, no statement from anywhere. That shows you are not important as a citizen of this country to the people that are ruling you. That's just the fact. That is just the fact. You don't need to stress yourself too far. If you are important, won't they talk about that video? Won't they say they are doing something about it? No, it's a lie. It's a lie. Look at what is going on with Kanu Nandi. They just pardon murderers, drug dealers, so many people. But what does it take them to pardon Kanu Nandi? Tell me now, they even reach agreement with bandits, allegedly. Or does it stop them to convert Kanu to security network in that region, southeastern Nigeria? At least former President Ebele Goodluck converted militants, follow them to people that now protect our critical assets. You can see the crude oil is going smoothly now since they made Tompolo company to protect our crude. So you can see. So Kanu is useful. You just need to redirect his energy. I've made videos 2 years ago to advise this government on what they can do with Kanu. Kanu is bigger than one governor decamping to you because his network cut across the region. You can convert him to a good asset. There won't be protest. There won't be need to arrest Sowore. Just do the needful. Second term is important, but the life of your people are equally important. APC government, start working. This is not fair.
Again, everybody will talk, but you would expect a response if you are dealing with people who are not intentionally deaf. Do you get that now? When they are intentionally deaf, you're just wasting your time. You can scream, you can even use a sign language. They don't care. And it is true. That video has been viewed, shared by millions of people. It's been seen all over the world. And there is not a single is one statement, not from the Edo State Police, not the Edo State government, not any Edo State elected official, not even the local government chairman in Auchi area where this young woman was taken. Because you know something, it is regular. They will tell you that you are talking about that girl. Do you know how many other people that are currently in captivity? They will say it like casually. People who are responsible for your safety, who are being paid for that purpose. They will say it casually. They say, oh, do you know how many people that we are still trying to pay their ransom? That girl, we are doing our best to see that we get her. You know, she's been taken for 2 weeks. But guess what? We have people who have been in captivity for the past 1 year, for the past 9 months. We are still raising money to get them. They will say it casually. And that's when you're going to know that, God damn it, man. This is not a real place, man. And I've been saying that myself, that when you see one video of a victim and you are there wondering, sometimes maybe sad, you know, emotional. What kind of a thing is this? No, I don't want you to be emotional in that sense. You get it now? I actually want you to just imagine if that was you. Some will say, no, never, in Jesus' name. No. I pray it won't be you, because you can't even wish that on the worst of your enemies. Forget about anything you have against anybody. You won't wish that if you kind of have this horror experience of the victims, the everlasting or lifetime kind of a trauma that nobody even talks about. You won't wish it on anybody. But you just have to imagine that, man. So anything can just happen to you, and when it happens, you are just on your own. And oh my God, what if your own story never even makes it to the internet? That people could actually really probably come together and say, oh, let's try something. 20 million naira is what they're asking from Aisha. 20 million naira. Do you think there's nobody in Edo State that could pay that? And then that takes us to, why should they even pay ransom to this ragtag terrorist? I said something about that during the brunch time this afternoon, right? So I said, in one of the part of Mayegun's Diary Political, where I shared the video of this lady the first time, I saw several comments that if I was a security officer, honestly speaking, I would be ashamed of myself if I didn't know all of that already. Because people were kind of like giving tips of how they can know if this young woman is being kept in a forest that is far away from the main road, or is far away from, is it in a jungle? What time of the day is that the video made, and all of that. And at the same time, there are technologies that will actually tell you where this video was first uploaded, what time, what location, and all that. And you can circle down, you can say, your signal can say here. Since it is the forest, right? There is no address. So it's here. So you don't just start coming down here. All you have to do is just to circle the entire point, and then you sweep the area. And at the end of the day, you're going to find them there. But the whole thing has become such a huge industry that the police that should ordinarily see all these tips, you get me now? Sometimes when you, because it's real, right? Sometimes when you watch these movies, you have people who are kidnapped and they are making videos, right? They are making videos to appeal for maybe ransom or something. The videos that the abductors will send to their families and all of that, right? So there are people that are trained enough that, listen, just make some sign. Something that when you are talking, right, they can easily check the wall, the color of the wall, the paint, the size of the room, and other little things that will give them away and say, this place looks like a certain area. Let's kind of send the troops in and sweep the area. But there is no ambition of stopping these rogues. Policemen will be telling you to pay the ransom, pay them. We have had victims who have come out to say, and their families who have come out to say, they have paid ransoms to terrorists because the police who were supposed to be investigating it and helping them advised them to pay. The best way is to pay the ransom. Because police will be telling you that if they have not done anything, they say, if we try to go there, we may lose your relative. So when we are exchanging fire, so it's better you pay them. And those who have paid these ransoms have come back to say most of the areas where these ransoms are dropped are not far from the police checkpoints. All these details. From the comment of people who have seen the video of Aisha, the first one, where she was shown all her legs and all that, they easily said, with this scenery, with this background, it shows that she's not really far from Benin. She's still in Benin. Meaning, if they check it out with the sign, with the swollen legs, right? Because her legs were swollen, possibly because of walking and climbing. So somebody said there's a chance that they have hilly areas where they have to trek, and then they have to climb. So enough that when her legs became swollen and she can't walk very well. That's why they sat her down and made that video. So for security person, right, they can say, okay, give us the what do you call it? The topography or whatever of this area, okay? So that we can tell, do you have any hilly part? Do you have anywhere that's a rocky part? You know what I mean? Like round it up and narrow the whole thing down, and they could have found her. But there is no intention of looking for her. It is sad, very sad. And it is very sad that you see a situation like this, you may even have the money. But unfortunately, for you not to be lucky enough to be able to call your family for that money. You got what I mean now? You may have stuff that could actually give you that money to pay them. Ransom should never be paid to terrorists if you have a working system. Because when they get the money, what do you think they use the money for? To buy a house or buy what? They buy guns, they buy more weapons, ammunitions to go ahead and commit even more. So the only way to stop them is for those who have the resources to stop them, your government, to do their job, which is a very tough one, unfortunately. So the ASU went on strike a few days ago, right? The Academic Staff Union of Nigeria, of the university or something, ASU, because Tinubu promised them and failed, like others before him. He said they had this agreement in 2009 that's become so contentious up to now. So they declared 2 weeks warning strike. Then they changed their mind, and this is why the guy that declared strike is telling us now that if Tinubu failed them again, they are just going to go to the strike. This time they won't want them. You're right.
Our union believes that objective has been partly achieved. And one of the reasons why we said so is because each time you go on a warning strike, your intention is to draw attention to the issues that are, between you and whoever you're discussing with. In this case, our employer. And so when we say our objective has been partly achieved, we have been able, through the ultimatum and the strike, to get the government's, federal government's negotiating team to come back to the table to discuss with us substantive issues, in our agreement. And when we presented our position on all the issues, they came back with a counter or their own position on each of those issues. And so that opened the door for more discussions, for us to engage with them and let them know what our position is on each of those issues and what they think. So we consider that to be a major achievement. It's a major achievement because for the past 8 years, from 2017 to date, This is the first time. This didn't happen with Babalakin's committee. It did not happen with Professor Munzali's committee. It did not happen with Professor Onimibrik's committee. It is only happening now. So we consider this to be an achievement. Indeed, we think this would have happened before this strike. If government had listened and agreed to engage with us, this strike would have been avoided. But it is what it is now. We have passed that stage. We are now discussing, and so we consider it an achievement. We also consider it an achievement in terms of our objective, because one of the key demands of our strike was that government should start to pay the third-party deductions. As at yesterday when we met, a number of our branches have confirmed that they have received their check of dues, even though the figure is not exactly what they expected. Branches that expected 20 million naira, they got 5 million naira. Branches that expected 3 or 5 million naira got 700 or 800,000 naira. But we think that is part of what we need to see. We can now correct and inform government that this is not what the figure should be, and then it will be corrected. We also have assurance from government that from today, Wednesday, more payments will come to our members, and we have engaged the chairman of the federal government's team, Alhaji Ali Ahmed, and he has promised to go around all the agencies to ensure that our promotion arrears, he gets a feedback on it. He gets a feedback on the 25-35% salary increase. He's going to
understand the rest, so they are still giving them a promissory note, but they gave them something. So it's a show of, good faith. So they want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And if they don't come back to do the rest, they will go on strike. I just have to feel sorry for those of you who are students under this kind of system. They've normalized it, so that some of you have always been mentally prepared that 4 years course can turn to 5, it can possibly turn to 6 because of these guys. All right. So they have removed subsidies for schools, obviously. And that is why the school fees are now meant to be paid with student loans. So they have other things underlying that they will make public. It's all about money. Our emoluments, our right. We're supposed to get paid this. You can't be paying politicians this amount, and then we are not getting proper promotional paid and other stuff. But it is more complex because of this greed that is the drive behind the whole thing. Nothing about patriotism, professionalism, and what have you. No, it's mostly, some would disagree, but it's mostly about just this greed that drives everyone. And the process, you can't be cheating us while you are enjoying. We need this. Oh no, you can't have it. The country is going to go broke if we do that. Oh no, the country won't go broke because you are enjoying this. You know what I mean? Like back and forth. While in between, the grass, the students, and their family, and those who suffer the whole back and forth. So I feel sorry for those of you under that system, right? Going forward, feeling sorry is not really like feeling sorry per se, but it's just kind of like a figure of speech. So in Asaba, the capital of Delta State, this is a state capital road. That tells its own story by itself.
tell me why motor no go spoil. Eh? Go. Ah. Jesus of Nazareth.
Shame, right? Yeah. I mean, it's an example of how much these guys have been having access to since Kolu came in, right? They said between January and July 2025, Delta State received a total sum of 361 billion naira, 230 million naira. And that is all the money for the local government, for the state. The 13% derivation money, all of that from the federal government of Nigeria under Tinubu, 361 billion naira. And that is, by the way, minus all the loans. And that was just in 7 months. Okay. But you can never satisfy the insatiable greed of these guys. Sowore said we should do everything to stop the greedy. That is to stop feeding the greedy and start feeding the needy. The millions whose resources have to feed these guys. It is like bottomless. They've got this bottomless sort of like a pit, like belly. Their greed is insatiable. It is sinful as much as it is very criminal. So you take a look at others too. Rivers State has received received 301 billion naira in 7 months. Lagos received 279 billion. You know something about Lagos? It's kind of like a strange, the imbalance of robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? Delta State claims that the total money they make from the crude oil taken from Delta State is more than the money Delta State got. Same with the River State. Same with the Bayelsa. That's their own argument that, okay, when it comes to Lagos, it is not about money. It is this big pocket sort of a scheme, right? VAT, what do you call it? Company tax and all of that. So federal government would take, for instance, in a year, they would take from Lagos, they would take, let's say, 600 billion naira in taxes from Lagos. And they will give Lagos back. For that same year, Lagos will receive back maybe 180 billion from that money. So Lagos case is kind of like a peculiar, but it is also the clearer textbook definition of Nigeria's system that is sustaining Nigeria, robbing Peter to pay Paul. All right. Now, take a look at others and what they, this is not showing how much they contributed, right? But what they have taken out. So Akwa Ibom got how much? 278 billion naira in 7 months. Bayelsa got 274 billion. Kano got 149.8 billion in 7 months. Oyo State got 119.8 billion. Anambra got 111.8 billion in 7 months. Borno got 109 billion, 9.6 billion. Katsina got 109.3 billion. Edo got 108 billion, 108.9 billion. Jigawa got 106.8 billion. Imo got 105 billion, 105.6 billion. And on like that. Sure you get. But if you go back there, and like I said, this is just the money they drawn from the Nigerian proverbial federation account. Roads they won't fix. They will inflate the contract, road contract, right? But yet they will still not do it. And where they manage to do the road or any of these projects, they will still use some substandard stuff that they will kind of like hype that even you looking at them, we just have to kind of like accept them as the standard they have, present them as, you know what I mean? So it's this that corrupt, and it is that bad. Corruption kills when money becomes so valueless simply because of the greeds of, few, minute few, by the way. Okay. Now, let us stop by with, just say hello to the PDP guys, because they only have just about 7 governors left, and 8 governors left. Out of the 8 governors, there is a chance that 4 of them are leaving, but for now, they are planning what they call their convention. And this is a group of PDP that's completely not in the same camp with Wike. Remember? So they have chosen somebody called Turaki that will become the PDP chairman in their November convention in Ibadan, in what they called the beginning of their reconciliation and then preparation for their 2027. This man.
As the northern leaders and representative of each of the states in the north, we have met this evening to deliberate and take decision on the office of the chairman of our great party, the PDP, which was drawn to the north. And in our meeting, we have reflected deeply and widely through consultation, and going to Ibadan for our national convention, we have adopted a consensus candidate to represent the north and by extension Nigeria as the chairman of the PDP. And that gentleman is Turaki, SAS. This is our decision this evening, and he is the person we are presenting at that convention as our chairman to represent our party on the 15th and 16th of August, November, in Ibadan.
Okay. Your Excellency, my name is Abdurrahman Zakari. I write for the Punch newspaper. There are instances where people within your party, of course.
Don't worry, Mr. Punch. All right. So that's them saying that they have a consensus candidate who would then be the PDP chairman in their convention. But the thing is where a Wike aware. Yeah. Time will tell. So a quick reminder that if you stayed with us this long, that means you enjoyed the chat, right? So if you haven't subscribed onto my Egun's Diary Political, you can do it now. And then if you have already subscribed, but you haven't really shared or liked the broadcast, this would be the best time to do it. So please, you can take a moment and do that, okay? And I have just one more thing for us just before we go. And it's not a really nice way to end it, but we just have to use that, okay? The Nigerian police. And in their usual best kind of like a behavior, you know, what they know how to do best. They are trying to extort a young man who is driving a supposed, used new car. They call it new because it's not registered, unregistered car, so to say. So who is automatically profiled as an internet fraudster. So they were now fighting to collect his phone so that they could check his phone, find something that they, that would justify their suspicion. So that was when the entire thing became rowdy, and it was caught on camera. Nigerian police at work. I told you, it's not actually my best way of rounding up. Or maybe I should use this one when we were talking about the kidnappers earlier, right? In Enugu, as it is in most part of the eastern Nigeria, whenever they, accuse anyone of being involved in kidnapping, so your property would have to give way. We've seen that in Anambra, we've seen that in Abia, we've seen that in, of course, this time in Enugu. And it won't be the first time. I've seen that in Edo as well. Even Okoyodoyo has demolished a few properties of some cultists. But this one is the den of kidnappers, allegedly. But again, my position is the same. Are they not destroying evidence? If the place is a den of kidnappers, it simply means that it will house a lot of evidence. Why demolish the property when the case is not even concluded? Are they not destroying evidence? Do you get what I mean? If I was a kidnapper and I discovered that the government is coming for me, right? I could just set the entire property ablaze because in that property will be evidence of my crime. Even if not small thing, you could find there shiny. So why are you destroying why are they always fond of destroying properties? Just pull it down, just like that. It's mental. In Akungba Akoko, people were in bed. Those who were in bed were in bed. And those who were still like around because it was late in the night. Until when a truck rammed straight into a building and is said to have killed minimum of 10 people. The actual figure is not given. Some said as many as 20 people were killed last night in Akungba Akoko, Ondo, I believe, said Akungba, yeah, in Ondo State. It was caught on camera. This one is not even like government demolishing houses. It is Dangote truck killing people inside their homes.
Ṣé kò lè gbaná báyìí? Ṣé kò lè gbaná? Ṣé ó pààyàn ní? Lọ sí bẹ̀rẹ̀. Òkú wà ń bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ìkọ́tún ní. Kí ni? Ìjọba ní ẹ̀rọ. Ó ti pààyàn. Jesus. Máa rọra iná wà o.
You get that? So no wonder that when we were growing up, our parents and even the adults, they were saying to always be so prayerful. They will say they will pray before they leave the house. They will pray when they enter the bike or when they kind of like, jump the bike or they enter the bus. When they are traveling, they will pray. Because Nigeria is a place where even if you are walking straight bullet will hit you. If you also inside one place, make the house collapse. And a lot of things could just happen that people will just have a lot to thank for and to thank God for and say, oh, thank God, oh, God is protecting us and this or that, because all these things happening. Sometimes you just can't really like explain them, but you can. A failed system is bound to have all this happening. You know what I mean? Health and safety, standard system. Maybe, having a standard system maintained saves lives. But where you have any illness, and things could easily be attached to spirituality. You know what I mean? And where the right to have a proper thinking, critical thinking about issues, right, in order to provide solutions, would be completely lost when everybody goes superstitious, ignoring the obvious. Where standards have been so abused, ignored, lives will be lost. That's what you have in that contraption. Your life could be snapped away from you just like that. So now let's use this as finally, right? Tonight, one of the well-spread lies that's gained so much kind of like a life of its own on social media, is the lie against the IPOB and the death of the husband of late Dora Akunyili. Remember that story? They kept saying that Dora Akunyili's husband was killed by the IPOB. Today they will say he's killed by IPOB. Tomorrow they will say no, he's killed by ESN. The next day they will say no, he's killed by assassin. Others will say no, he's got political this or that in it. Surprisingly, there is a clip of a young man arrested, by the way, who actually confessed. And his story did match. Do you get what I mean now? Unfortunately, something like this never really gains the mainstream. Nigerian media doesn't tap all this. They don't use this because it doesn't really it doesn't fit into their, stereotype or narratives. Akunyili's husband was killed by these young wannabe, criminals. They are their own terrorists, quite known in the area as well. The young man is said to be even known by some people as a very notorious criminal, right? Who believes so much in the potency of his charm. So they kidnapped Dora Akunyili's husband for money. And when the money was not forthcoming, in fact, I think they were even paid. They collected the ransom and they still killed him. It's got nothing to do with the IPOB, nothing to do with anything Nnamdi Kanu. But it won't really matter. For somebody they always just wanted to roast. But for posterity, I'm going to leave it here. For those of you who understand Igbo very well, and those who don't.
Isn't it the checking point? With the
louder. Like Onya. Chukwese. Onya be. Okay. Kora him le that day.
Mbosha obu escort ya carry ya bakore. So I will escort ya mother the police.
Okay.
Before I was
Okay. Okay. Ke ihe mere n'aka biko ka ezi afa ga n'ụwa
onye Igbo
onye ihe a na-etu gị ọgbanta agụ biko nwere ike gwa ihe mere gị n'aka ga
mgbe ndị agụ na-eche mba bịara Nabem.
Yeah.
Girl, muna wana mbo azebu.
Okay.
Mbo tazia munaka.
So you more again about beg now.
I just thought I should leave that out there because this is our diary as much as it is also our temple of truth, TOT. We'll leave it out there. And eventually the right audience who deserves the truth, they will find it. And when you have enough number of people who sees the truth, who can't be lied to anymore, the battle will be half won. Some called it the revolution of the mind, right? And it has begun. Thank you for your time this evening again, right? We've had a very much long day, but remember we probably will have a longer day tomorrow when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will resume his defense. What do you think he's got in stock for tomorrow? I'll leave you with your guess. So please don't leave without liking the broadcast if you haven't already. If you have done it just once, it's okay. I'll see you again. And possibly this weekend, I am going to do that fundraiser for the support of the platform like we did last month, just a mention, all right? So enjoy the rest of your evening or night. Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Mayegun dayari politico. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú. Mayegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn Turaki. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Turaki. ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Ìmọ̀ àyíṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ìmọ̀ àyíṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Mayegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Mayegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ Turaki. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.